Most men are not able to do this, but if you can learn how to do this one thing as a man, it will literally change your life. And I just had the opportunity to do it, but it was so difficult for me. I just left the gym, and when I walked into the gym, there was no music on. So I felt my body like immediately looking for something to distract itself. Looking for a podcast, thinking about what type of playlist do I want to put on. And I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna create some space for stillness, for silence. And as I got into that place of my workout and not listening to anything, I still felt that urge to like go and find a distraction, find a little bit of dopamine. But as I kept working out, as I sat in that stillness, eventually I found this massive amount of peace. And that's what most men are not able to find, is pure stillness, true quietness of your mind. Because here's what happens when you're able to quiet and silence your mind. You grow in your emotional awareness. When we're overwhelmed with our emotions, when we're controlled with our emotions and our thoughts, we're always in our head. We're always reacting to what we're feeling. We're not able to process them. When we get to a place of being able to quiet our mind, I now have the ability to observe these thoughts, to observe these emotions. What am I actually feeling? I realize what's causing the anxiety, what's causing the fear, what's causing the stress in my life. When you're able to quiet your mind, you're able to think with clarity. You start to get a different perspective on life. What is it that I'm actually even trying to do with my life? All these things that I'm burying my head in, all these distractions, all the work, all the workouts, all the diets. What's actually important? It helps you zoom out. It gives you a perspective that you wouldn't have otherwise if you're just going, constantly distracted. There's never a moment to breathe. There's never a moment to pause. And we live in this culture that conditions you to always have something in front of your face, always on your phone, scrolling on social media, always listening to something in the car, at the grocery store, at the gym, whatever it is, constant dopamine. And then also what this allows you to do is step into the presence of God. It says in Psalm 46 verse 10, it says, "Be still and know that I'm God." And so for me to know God, I have to learn how to be still. That's when he's going to speak. That's when his Holy Spirit that's within me is going to become known. God's Spirit is always within me, but can I hear his direction? And so I took this moment this afternoon at the gym as a moment to train myself to be okay with stillness, to be okay with creating silence. Because I want to have that level of deep understanding of myself. I want to have the ability to have self-control. When we lack self-control, we're reactive because we have an emotion and we just instinctively respond to it. But when we have control, we're responsive because we have the ability to be like, hold up. I realize the emotion that's going on. I understand the thought that I'm having. I can step outside of that, outside of my body. I'm not just gonna respond and react, or I'm not gonna just react to that thing. I'm gonna decide how I want to respond. So I want that level of self-control, and I want that depth with God. This is literally training me to have quality time with God in the morning. It's the same thing when you have that dedicated time with God. If you can't be still, if you're always thinking about like, what do I need to do today? What is the next thing I'm going to do? What am I going to do during work? What am I going to do during the gym? You're always going to be distracted. And most men can't do this because of the culture we live in. Because there's always things being thrown at your face. Because there's always things to listen to. Because there's always things to scroll on. And so if you as a man can create intentional stillness and intentional silence, you will tap into a level of yourself that you have never found before. You will tap into a deep intimacy with God that is so real, so tangible. But most guys never experience because they never get to that place. They're always distracted. You see, Jesus, he always withdrew. It says he withdrew from the crowds. He withdrew from his disciples to a quiet place. And the best time to do that is in the morning, right? We wake up fresh. We haven't looked at our phone. We haven't checked our email. Nobody's texting us. We haven't had phone calls. We don't have our boss asking us things to do. So start your morning with that silence, with that stillness, literally just sitting in a chair, being quiet, focusing on your breath. looking for God, praying, speaking with him. Write down what you're thinking. Write down the emotions that do come up. This is where the practice of journaling becomes so valuable. Right? We're studying ourselves. You can't observe what you're just being controlled by. You have to step outside of your body. Become a detective. I love that phrase. Become a detective. I'm observing myself from an outside perspective. And so, boys, realize stillness and quietness of your mind is a superpower. It will help you have more self-control, more emotional awareness, more vision for your life, less getting caught up in the things that don't matter, and more deep, intimate relationship with God. And boys, if you feel like you need help becoming the man God's calling you to be, stepping into your full potential, what you can do, there's a link in the description of this video. Book in a call with me. We're going to get crystal clear on where you are, where you want to be, what's the gap that's holding you back, and then we're going to come up with a game plan to get you to that place. And if it's a good fit for you to come on my team, join my one-on-one program, we'll get you on board. We'll absolutely rip. If not, I'll at least point you in the right direction. Boys, look for that stillness, look for that silence. It's a superpower in a world that's constantly distracted. Take time to get off the social media, get off your phone, take your earpods out, and just sit. It's going to be uncomfortable at first, but just sit in it. As you get over the initial discomfort, you'll find an immense amount of peace, clarity, and vision. Let's go!